Actually, let me just admit them in. Okay. Welcome to the 2021. Let me start. Welcome to the 2021 FIPCO Family Services Community Health Fair, Matters of Health in Black and Brown. This afternoon, we will be hearing from Carly Dawson, and she will be speaking to us about uh, let me try this one more time.
That's okay. Calm, just take your time.
Welcome to the 2021 FIPCO Family Services Community Health Fair, Matters of Health in Black and Brown. This afternoon, we will be hearing from Carly Dawson, and she'll be speaking to us about finance empowerment and health empowerment. But before we begin, I'd like to just go over a few things with our, first of all, with Zoom etiquette. And that is that we will be hearing from our speaker. So everyone will be remaining on mute until the end when it's time for our Q&A session. And also, I don't have to say this because your cameras are already stopped. Your video is already stopped. So I'll pass that part over. This presentation is being recorded and will be available tomorrow. If you visit www.easthillstream.com/FIPCO and click on the link, it will take you to the pre-recorded version of this event. Also, we would love to hear from you and get feedback on what you thought about this presentation. We will be sending out an email this evening to you, and in that email, we'll be thanking you for uh, participating in this presentation, and we'll be asking you to fill out a brief survey, which has about 4 questions asking for your input on how we can improve things for next year. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Carlin Dawson.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. I am truly excited to be here with all of you. And thank you very much, Evelyn, for introducing me. I know that this has been a long day and will be a long day for you, but I am excited to be here. I've been looking forward to talking with you all for quite a while now. And I tell you this, when it comes to talking about debt and financial management and empowerment, we as Black and Brown people primarily need to understand what this is all about. There's a saying that Albert Einstein said, and he says, once you stop learning, you start dying. And that is so very true. And we are about learning and learning as much as we can. I want to give this disclaimer first. I'm not a financial manager, financial planner. So I'm not here to talk about how to invest your money. That's not what I'm looking at. So with that off the table, I also want to say I thank you all for your support, for being here, especially my friend Effie. I see you out there, Effie, and I'm so glad. I can't wait until this is all over, until we can actually get together again. So understand this. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest, okay? And that's what this is all about, is building your knowledge base. We know that around the world, primarily it's knowledge that separates people from advantages and those who are being taken advantage of. when everybody is really financially literate, and that's where we are missing the plate at, we will have a level playing field, giving the average person a higher quality of life and really an opportunity to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Because without being literate and having money, is hard to do those things. And we know that we've been, as Black and brown people, we've been disadvantaged since enslavement. We understand that. And I'll share more about that in just a moment. Okay. So let me ask you, where did you learn about money when you were growing up? You think about this. Well, was it in school? Well, for the most part, what we learned in school was how to count money, how to add and subtract money, but we didn't learn anything else. How to multiply interest. We did those kinds of things, but we didn't understand about how money works. Financial institutions, maybe sometimes, when they tell us what they want us to know, what they think we need to know. And you think about the banks, they are, the biggest perpetrators of money and not giving us our fair share. They will take a lot from us and give us very little in return. There are other professionals. They don't have time to educate you. They tell you what, on an ask need to know basis. They'll talk about money with you. And the gain is always, when you think about it, is if someone is being paid for your ongoing interest of the products that you're purchasing from them, you think about that. They're making money off you. A one-time sale, that's one thing. But most professionals, you got to be very careful about how they make money off of you. And then most of us, we learned from our families, good, bad, or indifferent. We learned how money works, how it didn't work. We learned how to use money, how money was not used properly. We learned all those things, how to save it, how not to save it. We learned it from our families. And that's not to say that's good or bad, but that's just the way we got it. Money was not discussed around the table. You think about for us growing up, if it was about how much we did not have. So you want to look at that and think about, how did you learn things? How did you learn about what's the purpose of money? Well, let me tell you, the purpose of money is to solve a problem. That's what it's for. And you may think, no, yeah, you need something, you can purchase it, whatever that need is. Money is there to solve a problem. Nothing more, nothing less. You're hungry, you buy food. You sick, you get medical help. Your car breaks, you get it repaired. Money is there to solve a problem. Okay? You all know, and if you don't, I'm hoping this is not the first time you've heard this, but America is a debt fuel, we have a debt fueled economy here. When you think about it, 80% of consumers, us, are in debt. Only 20% are not. The average credit card debt that a person has is in excess of $16,000. And I did say credit card. If people have 2 or 3 credit cards, sometimes it's times 2 or 3. So a card can carry as much as $16,000 of debt on an average. Student loans this is low right now. This is a 2019 data. I haven't gotten the 2020. But when you think about the average student loan debt being over almost $51,000, for those individuals who have terminal degrees, medical degrees, their student loan debt goes like $2, $3, $4, $5, even $600,000. Seriously. Mortgage, the average mortgage debt is, and this is across the United States, not Arizona. So you can see why, Arizona is a little higher than this, but the average mortgage debt is about $180,000. And that's where people really start to gain their wealth. And I'm going to cover that in a second. Average pre-tax household income is about $75,000, okay, before all taxes are paid. And then the average expenses are about $57,000. So that leaves about $17,000 roughly for all that seven taxes and stuff, all of that to come out of that and all your expenses. So you think about this. This is what really gets me, is how people now spend money. And when you think about our typical spending, people eat out or take out food to the tune of $181 on average a month. Now, all of these you multiply times 12 and you'll see what the figure is, but I'm going to just talk about the monthly amount. Coffees and lattes, people are spending $60 a month. Our youngest daughter was a barista for Starbucks, and she would tell us people come in there 5 to 7 days a week. She had some customers that came in 5 days a week, 3 times a day. They were for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you average $5. They were spending more than that. But this is just a latte every, $5, $60 a month. That's a lot of money for coffee. Ride shares, the Ubers and the Lyfts and such, about $30 a month. Alcohol, about $30. I'm sorry, ride share about $83 a month. And alcohol, about $30 a month. Events, special events, going out, movies and things like that, about $30 a month. New clothes, buying clothes, about $63 a month. And people spend money on lottery tickets. Think about this. People are spending upwards of $74 a month for lottery tickets, hoping to hit the big one. I got a note about that too. And subscription services from phones to TVs, etc., $237 a month. And you think about that, you add all that up, that's $9,000, more than $9,000 a month just for luxury stuff. This is not necessary. So, and you look and see, this is why the debt business is such a big industry. It's big because you think about the 4 largest industries for it includes car loans. This is over $19 trillion. You got car loans, over $1 trillion, credit cards, over almost 1.1 trillion, student loans, 1.6 trillion, mortgages is the biggest, with almost $16 trillion for debt and mortgages. Okay, so that's why it's so big. And this is what I want to share with you, because not having money stresses the body. When we don't have money to do what we need to do, it stresses our bodies. And let me share with you how that happens. Poverty is a big major contributor to mental illness, suicide, family disintegration, substance abuse. But when you're exposed to stuff, and see, this diagram I have on here is for racial discrimination. Well, the racial discrimination is a part of why we don't have money. It has been built up since the time and people were enslaved. That discrimination building up, not having money to take care of ourselves. All of those things, once that enslavement period was over, all of that had a physical impact on our bodies called weathering. It caused us to look and think and feel different because of all of that. And with that, all of those things that our body was being impacted by, not having, these were all stigmatizations that caused us to feel something different. And what happens is that stuff loads up in our bodies, and it gives us this overload of stress called allostasis. And this overload of stress in our bodies uh, can only handle so much stress. We are always, when you think about how stress impacts us, our heart can't keep beating so fast all the time. When you got this overload of stress, you got all these chemicals flooding your body, and it causes sometimes decreased self-efficacy. I can't become who I think I want, who I want to be. I am depressed. I have a sense of hopelessness. I feel anxiety. I have this anger and aggression. Something's going on because I can't fix what's going on because I have no means to do it. And it causes this allostasis, causes us to have a decreased immune system, increase in cortisol levels, increase in blood pressure. All of that stuff comes out of us and creates disparities, not just in us, but in the children that we will have. Because whatever is in our bodies comes out in our DNA. And all of this stuff manifests itself negatively, causing us to have an overall shortened lifespan. Okay. But Heather McGhee, if you've not heard of her, you might, this is a great book to pick up. It's called The Sum of Us. And she talks about money in the African-American family and how it started, what caused us, the trauma we experienced physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, how it was legalized when the first slaves were abducted and brought to this country more than 400 years ago. In 1619, when those 20 Africans came over, were brought over again to Jamestown and survived the harshest winter they've ever experienced in their lifetime. Since those 20, and it's estimated that there were over 12 million Africans that were drowned during the transatlantic slave. They didn't make it over here. Only about 388,000 came over in that trade. All the rest, the millions that came out of that came from those 388,000. And all of this historical trauma has built up and caused us not to be able to always manifest what we need because there was a lack of funds to do it. There's a lack of money and and so even when we did well during Restoration, after we were freed from enslavement and we started in that Restoration period, we started doing well. We had senators come out of that. Think about that. Immediately after that, senators, congressmen, professionals, bankers, you name it. We had them. All we knew how to do was what we had been doing. And that was taking care of people, taking care of the farm, raising land, taking care of the animals, all of those things. And we turned all of those skills into businesses. And during that period, we did outstandingly well. We were doing well. As a matter of fact, that's what caused us to go into, because we're doing so well, that was one of the reasons that, the southern state couldn't stand that. And they ended up making all those Jim Crow laws and all those things, taking our property. We were given property by General Sumner, and then after the new president came in, he reversed all of that. After Lincoln's replacement came in, they reversed all of that and gave the land back to the slave owners, and we went into sharecropping, and because we could not make more than the landowners, and that finance just really, but the statement she makes that wealth is where history shows up in your wallet is so true and so critical. Financial literacy is a lack of education about money, finance, especially our personal finance. It enables the government and the corporations they continue to look at what the stakeholders and shareholders get. They're, they leverage our ignorance for their gain. And we allow them. How many of us have actually read all the documents that you have to sign when you open a checking account? We skimmed it, but when you read it, what we're doing is we're telling the bank that they can take our money at night, use that money and put it back. And when they take that money out, they invest it and get lots of interest off of it in a short period of time and give our money back to us, give our $50 back to us. And they are, when you got millions of people and money they're using for their $50 for free, they're making a lot of money. As a matter of fact, financial illiteracy is the #1 economic crisis in America today, and the world for that matter. 44% of Americans don't have enough cash to cover a $400 emergency. 43% of the student loan borrowers are not making payments on those student loans. 38% of households in America have credit card debt, deep debt. And 33% of Americans have zero money in their retirement accounts. Financial literacy is really introducing finance and helping our children at an earlier age. I mean, it's critical to introduce finances to our children early in their life. The average Caucasian family has $188,000 in accumulated wealth. That stemmed from home ownership. Yeah. But see, they even prevented us from buying homes, even if we could afford them. Even after the military, we could not buy homes. And when we did, when one or two of us could buy a home, it was a home that was of less quality and cost more. It always cost us more. The average Hispanic family has $36 accumulated wealth right now. And the average Black family has only $24,000 of accumulated wealth. So only 30% of the people in the world really are financial literate. That means 70% of us aren't literate at all. So who has all the money? According to a recent survey, millennials, they have a median amount of $23,000 saved for retirement. Gen Xers, they've got about $66,000 saved for retirement. Baby boomers, about $152,000 saved for retirement. Now, you know, they're in retirement. That's my group. 7 in 10 boomers plan to continue working after the age of 65. Everyone has money, but almost no one has money saved. When I was in the 6th grade, now, you know, that's been a long time ago, my 6th grade teacher, Mr. Rosen, he asked us this question. He said, "What would you prefer, class? $1 million given to you in 1 month or 1 cent doubled every day for 30 days? Oh, I was quick to answer, oh, give me $1 million. $1 million? When I was in the 6th grade, that was $1 trillion. It seemed, you know, it was such a magnanimous amount of money. I even tried it for about a week. I could last. When I got to doubling to 64 cents, I had to make $1.28. See, it was we may laugh, younger generations may laugh now, but it wasn't as easy getting that much money then. In the 6th grade, even working, it was hard. But when you think about this, and everybody in that class said they wanted $1 million right now, except for one girl. And she said, I don't know, let me think about this. I'm like, what I thought, what's there to think about? And she started doing the math. And when she did, she goes, after she did the math, she said, I'll take the 1 cent a day doubled. If you look at day 28, it takes 28 days when you'll kick over $1 million. And by day 30, you got over 5 million. It pays to know the value of money. And money today is worth more than money saved tomorrow. Okay? So it doesn't make any difference. You got to do the best we can with the money we have right now. And assuming you could save money, let's say you had $1,000 and you could save $1,000 a month. Now just look at this, because the banks do this. At 1% interest, you have $422,000, almost $423,000 at the end of 30 years. It would take 30 years. At 18% interest, when you invest your money, you have over $14 million at the end of 30 years. Okay.
We have 5 minutes before the
Okay.
Q&A.
So saving money, it makes a difference. And people with money always think, I've got to work hard for my money. But people without money think that, but people with money think, I'm going to let my money work hard for me. And winning the lottery, most people who win it lose it in a few years. So we don't want to get stuck. We want to make sure we understand how money works and have it, and look at what our options can be. I'm just going to run through this because people think these are things that we can do. Refinancing and all of that. We don't always have to refinance, because refinancing resets the calendar. Debt consolidation just balls up and puts it on one payment. You've got to pay. You've got to understand, how do you pay? If you're going to pay bi-weekly, it has to be in your mortgage plan. Nothing you can do on your own without knowledge. Money to principal is great. All of these things are great, but you just have to understand. Paying off debt, what should you pay off first? Okay. So what I want you to know is, if you could stop overpaying interest on your debt, how would life be different for you? How much money do you owe now on your card? How much interest are you paying? What about your house? We need to know these things, because the number of hours in the day are limited by what we can earn, but the money, if money is working for you, there's no limit to it. There's no limit. And putting money in up front and letting it sit is better than putting it in every month. It still grows just as fast. And remember, and if you haven't learned about the rule of 72, you want to look at that. The rule of 72 is simple. So it's a formula that you use that tells you how much time it's going to take for your money to double. That's what all you do is divide. That's supposed to be divide 72 by your interest rate. And it's going to tell you the number of years it'll take you to double that money. Okay. If it's only 1%, it's going to take you 72 years. That's what they call the rule of 72. If it's 3%, it'll take you 24 years, and etc. Okay. So if you had the availability of a tool that would show you the fastest mathematical way to zero debt, how to make decisions before you purchase them, and show you the true cost of it, and could save you on average $100,000 over 20 years and 20 years of payments, has steps for you to follow, an action plan, guaranteed results, would you want to do that? If you can't save money when you're young, pay off your debt earlier when you're older. Let me help you build up and relieve some of the stress that you may be in, to get you out of debt the fastest mathematical way possible, with a free financial analysis. This is my name, my phone number, and my email address. Are there any questions?
We are now entered into the Q&A portion of this session. If you have a question, please place your questions in the chat.
I know that was fast.
Are there any questions? Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ernest H. Urquhart.
Hi, Ernie.
Hello there, Dr. Dawson. My first, I do have one quick question. Can you loan me $1? I'm gonna borrow $1 and buy your tool and watch it grow. Well, I don't have 30 more years, so I guess that won't work. Anyway,
And that's it. That's it. Because we don't have, as we age up, we don't have 30 years anymore.
yeah,
You know, we got 5, 7 years to do this.
there you go. Well, look, I wanted to close this out by thanking Dr. Dawson for a wonderful, powerful presentation of challenges, to be honest. What I hear is you're really challenging us to, one, think. I mean, and you got the stuff right in front of you. It's not like, oh my God, let me run to the library and see if I can find this, find that. And the good news is that for the 8 or 9 of us who are on here today, we thank you, we get the benefit of it. And we are recording this, and it will be accessible on demand for people who come to FIBCO and say, hey, I want to hear this money thing that this doctor was talking about. So it will be available. Also want to let everyone know that I believe Dr. Dawson has made some other material available in the Hope and Health Room. And we call it that for that reason. It's a place where you can go for hope and convert that into seeing whether it's documents or links or whatever that can help you. So encourage you to go back to the homepage of the site, click on Hope and Help Resources, and go in there. You might see some things that Dr. Dawson has left in there for you. And she also left her contact information, which she can be sure we put that in that room as well. Also want to let everyone know, thank you for coming. If you've not already, you will be receiving a very brief feedback form. We would ask you to send that in, fill it out, send it in, so that it'll help us say, hey, if you do this again, here's some feedback for you. Or here's what we think how things went today. All right, thank you everybody for coming, and thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Great job as usual.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much, Ernie.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.